Welcome to My Safety Training Online presents Stress and Stress Management. What you will learn. I will give you a general awareness of your personal situation, discuss stress at work, and discuss self-help available to you. Part 1. General awareness of your situation. Stress is a reaction people have to excessive pressures or other types of demands placed upon them. It arises when they worry they can't cope with their reality of the situation. Stress is the wear and tear on our minds and bodies experienced as we attempt to cope with a continually changing environment. Stress occurs when the pressure is greater than the resource. Stress feelings defined. You know you're under stress when you're worried, you're tense, you're tired, you're frightened. Perhaps you may be elated or depressed. Types of stressors. We have external factors, which is usually our number one cause of stress, and internal factors, which is usually our factor number 2 cause of stress. External stressors are the physical environment, social interaction, organizational situations, major life events, and just your daily everyday hassles. Stress in the physical environment. Things like noise, bright lights, heat, confined spaces, all present different levels of stress to us. Stress in social interaction include rudeness on the part of people that we meet, or perhaps perceived bossiness or aggressiveness by others, as well as bullying. All of us are stressed out by different factors, such things as monies and bills, traffic, job-related stresses, work overloading, lack of support, lack of job training, health or medical issues, lack of free time, relationships among families and friends. Organizational sources of stress are rules which we encounter, regulations, perceived red tape, and deadlines. Stress and major life changes include a birth or death, a lost job opportunity, a promotion or a marital status change. Stress and daily hassles include commuting, misplaced keys, mechanical breakdowns, these kinds of things. Internal stressors are lifestyle choices, negative self-talk, mind traps, and personality traits. What can stress lead up to? Low productivity, anger and frustration, work-related injuries, a lack of concentration, anxiety, panic attacks, depression. How you handle stress can mean the difference between being happy and productive, or frustrated and anxious. Stress and lifestyle choices include the use of caffeine, lack of sleep, and overloaded schedule. Negative self-talk includes pessimistic thinking, self-criticism, or over-analyzing. Stress and personality trait includes perfectionists, workaholics, and a type A personality. Types of stress include negative stress, which is the number 1 type that we experience, and positive stress, which is the number 2 types of stress. Negative stress is usually a contributory factor in minor conditions such as headaches or digestive problems, skin complaints, insomnia, and ulcers. Excessive and prolonged and unrelieved stress can provide a harmful effect on mental and physical and spiritual health. Stress can have a positive effect on you, including spurring motivation and awareness, while providing a stimulation to cope with a challenging situation. Stress also provides a sense of urgency and alertness needed for survival when confronting threatening situations. Everyone is different with unique perceptions of and reactions to events. There is no single level of stress that is optimal for all people. Some are more sensitive owing to experiences in childhood, the influence of teachers, parents, and religion, etc. Most of the stress that we experience is self-generated. How we perceive life, whether an event makes us feel threatened, or perhaps stimulated, encouraged, or discouraged, happy or sad, depends upon a large extent to how we perceive ourselves. Self-generated stress is something of a paradox, because so many people think external causes when they are upset. Recognizing that we create most of our own upsets is the first step towards coping with them. The following are indicators that you are encountering stress: a general irritability, elevated heart rate, increased blood pressure, anxiety or anxious feeling for no specific reason, trembling, insomnia, headaches, indigestion, a pain in the neck or lower back, changes in appetite or sleep pattern. Stress and mind traps. When a person has unrealistic expectations or takes things personally, all or nothing thinking, as well as exaggeration or rigid thinking, we tend to make mind traps for ourselves. Managing stress. Stress is a process that builds and builds until you feel like you're going to explode. It is more effective to intervene early in the process rather than later. Try to become aware of the signs that suggest the process has begun. Positive stress. Stress can have a positive effect, opening motivation and awareness, while providing a stimulation to cope with a challenging situation. It also provides a sense of urgency and alertness needed for survival when confronting threatening situations. The stress response. Dr. Hans Selye calls the fight or flight response a typical stress response and was developed in the 1930s along with Dr. Walter Kenyon. Self-generated stress is something of a paradox because so many people think external causes when they're upset. Recognizing that we create most of our upsets is the first important step toward coping with them. The next section deals with stress in the human body. The stress response is controlled by the endocrine system, which demands a physical or mental systems of the body result in a hormone secretion. This results in adrenaline or testosterone being released. Endocrine system responses are increased pupil dilation, perspiration, increased heart rate and blood pressure, rapid breathing, muscle tenseness, and increased muscle alertness. General adaptation syndrome. This usually involves an alarm response as well as adaptation generally and exhaustion on the part of the individual. As discussed earlier, the first response is usually a fight or flight response that prepares the body for immediate action. If the source persists, the body prepares for a long-term protection, secreting hormones to increase blood sugar levels. This phase is common but not necessarily harmful, but must include periods of relaxation and rest to counterbalance the stress response. Fatigue, concentration lapses, irritability, and lethargy result in stress as stress turns negative. In chronic stress situations, sufferers enter the exhaustion phase with emotional and physical responses. In a chronic stress situation, sufferers can lead to decreased stress tolerance, progressive mental and physical exhaustion, as well as illness and collapse. Symptoms of stress include physical symptoms, mental symptoms, behavioral symptoms, and emotional symptoms. Symptoms of the physical type are sleep pattern changes, fatigue, digestive changes, loss of sexual drive, headaches, aches, pains, breathlessness, palpitations, and missed heartbeats. Sweating and trembling are other physical symptoms, as well as tingling hands and feet, indigestion, and infections. Mental symptoms are lack of concentration, memory lapses, difficulty in making decisions, confusions, disorientation, and panic attacks. Appetite changes, too much or too little, eating disorders such as anorexia and bulimia, increased intake of alcohol and other drugs, increased smoking, restlessness, fidgeting, hypochondria, are behavioral symptoms. Emotional changes include bouts of depression, impatience, fits of rage, tearfulness, as well as a deterioration of personal hygiene and appearance. Stress is not the same as ill health, but has been related to such illnesses as cardiovascular disease, immune disease, asthma, and diabetes. Digestive disorders, ulcers, skin complaints, psoriasis, headaches, migraines, premenstrual syndrome, and depression are also related to stress. When dealing with stress, identify and eliminate your personal time wasters, set long-range goals and daily priorities, identify your number one priority and get it done first. Say no when, if necessary. Ask for help, if necessary. Experts argue that maintaining regular exercise routine and healthy diet is your best defense against stress. Try to fit at least 20 minutes of aerobic exercise into your schedule 3 to 4 days of the week, while eating well-balanced meals, more grains, nuts, fruits, and vegetables, and getting at least 7 hours of sleep each night. There are a wide variety of books, magazines, tapes, and videos on the market to help you deal with stress. Several websites are also now available to help you cope with everyday stress. If necessary, you may want to consider getting medical advice from your doctor. Part 2, Stress in the Work Environment. Topics for stress and work. Why do we work? What factors influence work stress? Work patterns, situations we encounter, Case studies have been done, and we'll give a summary finally for stress and work. Why do we work? Well, we work because work provides us an income. It fulfills a variety of our needs as well as mental and physical health. And work provides exercise, social contact, a feeling of self-worth, and competence. Factors affecting work stress. Well, we have our drive for success, changing work patterns, relationships at work with those that we deal with, our working conditions. We may be underworked or overworked. There's uncertainty, conflict, and responsibility involved with all jobs. Western society is driven by work. Personal adequacy equates with personal success and professional success. Our culture demands monetary success and professional status. Unemployment, redundancy, shortened working weeks, new technology affect our emotional and physical security. No more jobs for life or more short-term, along with more short-term contracts appearing, result in financial and emotional burnout, increasing it among all levels. Physical and mental health is adversely affected by unpleasant working conditions such as high noise levels, lighting, temperature, and unsocial or excessive hours. Stress may occur through inability to cope with the technical or intellectual demands of a particular task. Circumstances such as long hours, unrealistic deadlines, and frequent interruptions. Stress may arise from boredom because there's not enough to do, or perhaps the job is dull or repetitive. While you're thinking, can it get any worse than this? Stress and work uncertainty about individuals' work roles, the objectives, responsibilities, and expectations, or perhaps a lack of communication and feedback can result in confusion, helplessness, and stress. Stress can arise from work that the individual does not want to do, or that conflicts with their personal, social, or family values. The greater the level of responsibility, the greater the potential level of stress. How can you get the big bucks without the responsibility? Well, it ain't going to happen. Good relationships with colleagues are crucial. Open discussion is essential to encouraging positive relationship. Remember, openness is the key. Changes that alter psychological, physiological, and behavior routines such as promotion, retirement, and redundancy are particularly stressful. Work is important to each one of us. Work stresses can include heat and noise, but our job satisfaction and responsibilities have to be balanced as well, along with relationships that are good and bad, as well as changes that are short-term and long-term, and the costs of those upon us and our fellow workers. Part 3, Self-Help for Stress. Self-help for stress that we'll discuss will be the stress control factors, the ABC strategy, and we'll summarize it all up. The ABC strategy for stress is A equals awareness. What causes you stress? How do you react? The B in the ABC strategy is B equals balance. There's a fine line between positive and negative stress. How much can you cope before it becomes negative? C equals control. What can you do to help yourself combat the negative effects of stress? What can you do to change your attitude? Remember that not all stress we generate is generated at work. Reframing is a technique to change the way you look at things in order to feel better about them. There are many ways to interpret the same situation, so pick the one you like. Reframing does not change the external reality, but helps you view things in a different light. Forget powerlessness, dejection, despair, failure. Seek out the positive and make a change. Stress leaves us vulnerable to negative suggestion, so focus on positives. Focus on your strengths and learn from stress that you are under and look for while looking for opportunities. Remember, changing your behavior means you'll need to be more assertive while getting yourself organized. Ventilate your frustrations and try to use humor in the process while seeking diversion and distraction. Assertiveness helps us manage stressful situations and will in time help to reduce their frequency. Lack of assertiveness often shows low self-esteem and low self-confidence. The key to assertiveness is verbal and non-verbal communication. Remember, you have the right to express your feelings, and as well as your opinions and beliefs. The right to say yes and no for yourself. The right to change your mind. The right to say, I don't understand. The right to be yourself, not acting for the benefit of others. The right to decline the responsibility for other people's problems. You have the right to make reasonable requests of others. You have the right to set your own priorities. And you have the right to be listened to and taken seriously. Respect for themselves and others, as well as taking responsibility for their actions and choices, are part of people who have good self-respect. Asking openly for what they want, and disappointed if the want is denied. Self-confidence remains intact, and not reliant on the approval of others. Assertive people's skills for dealing with stress. Establish good eye contact and don't stare. Stand or sit comfortably, but don't fidget. Talk in a firm, steady voice while using body language. I think and I feel. What do you think? How do you feel? The benefits of self-management include having a higher esteem for yourself, and you're less self-conscious, and you are less anxious while managing stress more successfully. You'll appreciate yourself and others more easily, and you'll have a feeling of self-control. Poor organization is one of the common causes of stress. Structured approaches offer security against out-of-the-blue problems. Prioritizing objectives, duties, and activities makes them manageable and achievable. Don't overload your mind, and organization will help you with personal stress. All right, let's go through again with the items that are of top priority for stress minimization. Number 1, make a list of what must be done right now. Next, what should be done. Third, what would you like to do? Fourth, cut out time-wasting activities. Fifth, learn to drop unimportant activities. Time management. Okay, we're going to plan our day. We're going to set achievable goals. And we don't waste time making excuses for not doing something. Remember, a problem shared is a problem halved. Develop a support network through friends or colleagues to talk with. It's not always events that seem stressful, but how we perceive them. Writing a diary or notes may help release feelings but do not reread what has been written. Learning humor to minimize stress. Good stress can be a reducer. This applies at home or work as well as relieving muscular tension. Improves your breathing and pumps endorphins into your bloodstream. Take time out. Get away from things that bother you. Don't solve the problem and reduce your stress level while calming down and thinking logically. Remember, diet is very important while maximizing your complex carbohydrates and minimizing or eliminating your smoking and alcohol. Exercise at least 1 hour per day while getting 8 hours sleep. Enjoy your leisure and relaxation times as much as you can. Yes, healthy eating habits, use of caffeine as a stimulant and salt, which you would minimize or eliminate, are good diet factors to keep in mind. The benefits of exercise cannot be de-emphasized. Exercise will use up excess energy released by the fight or flight reaction. It clears the minds of worrying thoughts, improves your blood circulation, lowers your blood pressure, improves your self-image, and makes you feel better about yourself. Sleep is an excellent stress reducer. It is difficult to cope when tired, but you need to wake refreshed after a night's sleep while having plenty of daytime energy. Give yourself a break from stresses while providing an outlet for relief through leisure. It also will give you social contact. Alternatives to stress reduction include conventional medicine, counseling and psychotherapy, relaxation, meditation, massage, yoga, flotation, herbalism, and biofeedback. Relaxation will decrease your mental worries while increasing your concentration, as well as your productivity and clear thinking. Thanks for participating. From the gentle folks of MySafetyTrainingOnline.com.